You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth!
What's up, guys? It's RJ, and it is Artfight season once again. I am on Team Mystery for 2026, and my first victim is this guy right here, Prince Genesis. He is a Wings of Fire OC by @Deerlings, so please go follow them. They have some really cute artwork. I chose this dragon as my first victim of the Artfight season just because I thought he was an interesting looking Skywing. I liked his stripes, and the style was so cute. I had trouble deciding actually between this guy and their other character. So let's just get right into it. I immediately, when I was looking at this character, I was like, okay, I want to do something where he's jumping towards the camera or having like fire in some way. I appreciate that this artist put a song on the reference sheet of what song they associate the character with. The quick bio that was given for this character is that he is a gladiator in the Skywing arena, so he's pretty deadly, and he's got some unresolved trauma that I guess fuels his rage. So yeah, I started sketching out this pose with the claws kind of coming forward. Definitely was a little difficult. You can see I'm like adjusting things around and scooching things over a little bit because this foreshortening perspective was a little bit tricky. So here I go into my second pass after I had my initial thumbnail. I go in with a darker pen, and I'm just sort of going over my original like sketch. I merge these two layers down onto each other eventually, so that way they're kind of together. I've recently found that I really like drawing digitally, where I'm treating it almost as just pencil on paper, where I can erase down to the paper and nothing is left underneath. It just sort of helps me really shape the lines in a way that I want, because I decided a couple years ago that I hated line art so bad that I swore it off, and so I refused to do a sketch and then perfectly outline it. I'd rather just erase the sketch and use it underneath all in one layer. Maybe that makes me a psycho, I don't know. But yeah, so I was so excited for Artfight this year. I'm in the midst of working on my senior thesis film for my major. I'm a 3D animation major, so I've been working in 3D mostly, a whole lot of ZBrush, a whole lot of Autodesk Maya, which if you're a 3D artist or you've ever tried one of those programs, you'll know it's a little bit of a headache. So Artfight honestly is just such a good way for me to take a step back from that a little bit and enjoy myself and do some drawings. There were a few moments here, like as I was working on this piece, where I just was making these crazy hand gestures to myself to try to figure out how I wanted it positioned. But I eventually was able to sketch it out using my own hands as reference. And this artist draws their dragon's claws like almost little paws, which I thought was so super cute. That's not usually how I draw them, so I wanted to bring that influence in the wings and kind of give him sort of almost paw pads also on his wing joints, just to bring back those shapes even if it's not like in the hands. I don't really think doing a paw style would work properly if I wanted to get this pose where his claws are kind of coming towards you. So that's why I made the decision not to incorporate that design element. But honestly, I really like it when people draw Wings of Fire dragons with sort of headcanon anatomy. It's not exactly, I guess, quote-unquote on model, I guess you would say. And I really like that, because then when I'm drawing somebody's character who they've made a reference sheet for, a lot of times I'll try to incorporate their stylistic like quirks just to add some variation. That way not every dragon looks exactly the same, even if they're allegedly from the same tribe. If you don't know what Artfight is, it's an annual event that is held online on artfight.net, in which you can upload references of all your original characters and join a team, and drawing artwork of the opposing team's characters will score points for your team. And it's really fun. They've been doing it for almost 10 years now, I think. This is, like I said, this is my 3rd consecutive year, but my 4th year overall. And it's honestly, it's just so fun. I really recommend it. Even if you are like, literally you've never picked up a pencil before, beginner. All skill levels are on there, and it's just so cool because not only do you get to practice, you know, drawing basically any type of character you want, but also you get to receive artwork of your characters, which is so nice. What I think is really cool is they have this search function on the website where you can search for a specific tag. So let's say you want to practice drawing a dragon or drawing a human. You could search for those tags and see exactly which characters were uploaded even this season, or which ones have not a lot of attacks, which ones have a lot of attacks. They give you some pretty powerful tools to search for any character you could imagine and get some practice in. You're also allowed to work on the piece as little or as much as you want, and it's scored accordingly. So if you do a sketch versus like finished line art versus painted color, you just rack up more and more points the more time you spend on the piece. And at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the July, it's really like not a huge deal which team wins. But, you know, it's still a great experience, and I truly recommend it, even if you only do one drawing and it's just a pencil sketch. It's awesome, you know? So, yeah, if you have not done Artfight before, there's absolutely still time. It runs through all of July. Yeah, please join. And if you do join, drop me a follow. Same tag, at RanenJin, RANENJIN, and I'll put it up on the screen there. And if any of my characters are to your liking and you want to draw them, that would be awesome. I do try to do revenges, which is when somebody attacks you and you attack them back. I try to do every revenge to that I can. I don't always have time if I get hit kind of towards the end of the month. I don't always have time to do it, but I have done revenge that spilled over into the next year because I didn't have time, so I waited till the next year to get them back. But yeah, I've even seen revenge chains go up to like so many pieces where people just keep going back and forth. So yeah, so at this point in the piece, I start blocking in these flame shapes. Have some coming from his mouth and then some that's like swirling around, and just sort of erasing and mushing it around until I get it to a point that I am satisfied with. And when I was thinking about the lighting, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do when I went into this, which is not always the best idea to just start a piece with not knowing where you're gonna end up, but in this case, that's what I did. So I did start by trying to block in some shadows. Maybe I was like, okay, maybe do I start with the flames, like reflecting on the paws, but I ended up deciding, okay, what if we have like the sun coming through he's like in the sky, what if we have the sun like coming through the clouds and hitting his face from that angle, and I thought that looked pretty cool. So what I'm doing here is I put a multiply layer with the kind of bluish greenish sky color and just filled it all in. And then I'm going in with my eraser and erasing the areas that would be in light. Even though the shadows will be blended out and there will be more lighting effects added later, I find it really helpful to do my first pass of shading where we're just thinking about, okay, what's in light and what's in shadow, and not worrying too much about blending it out or making the form perfect. You're just going through and following your shapes and thinking about, okay, like, is this object hitting the light and where? So that way, when I want to add more shadows or more lights later and sort of blend it out, do the in-betweens and everything, I have basically a map of exactly where more shadows might need to go or more light might need to go, and you can layer it up from there. I started playing with the background colors, and I accidentally made it pink, but then decided that I kind of liked it with that pinkish tint. So I went with it and started adding some light to the clouds. And honestly, it was really tricky for me trying to figure out, like, how I wanted this fire to be casting light on the dragon. But I kept on going back to, like, I don't know, I just liked it where it was simple. Like, the lighting was a little more simple. There's the sunlight source and then there's the shadows. And as I was playing around with this, I started adding some blue tints. I started adding some light coming from the bottom, just like from the fire, but I wasn't loving it. I felt like it was making the form a little bit muddy. It was harder to see where like each finger began, especially on his right paw. So I ditched it, and I decided, you know what, maybe this fire is not glowing hard enough to cast a light on the dragon. But I honestly am glad that I made that decision, because I think it brought some more clarity to the colors of the piece. I don't know. Maybe if I did this again, I would do some more planning to be able to have that fire be able to light him up a little more, but I think in this case it wasn't necessary. So at this point I'm taking my shadow color again, and I'm just doing a second pass of little shadows, doing the smaller details, so the little shadows that are between where his scales would be, and I'm just kind of moving around the whole piece and blending them out where I feel like it should be blended. And then going back and adding some highlights. Definitely, if you're like someone who likes to draw dragons and maybe you're just beginning, I sincerely do not recommend trying to draw every scale from the get-go. Because as you saw there, you know, you don't have to. I only added highlights on the scales that I think are really facing the sun, and it gets the job done. You're trying to create the illusion of texture rather than painstakingly drawing every scale, because then you're just going to be there forever and hate yourself and melt into a pile of goo. So now as I'm wrapping this up, I ended up doing some swirlies around the fire, and I would call it done. This piece was genuinely so fun to work on. I really enjoyed doing it as my first Artfight piece, and there will be many more to follow. So, dearlings, I hope you enjoy your art of Prince Genesis, and happy Artfight! Like I said, please drop me a follow if you like this. I will be making speed paints of all of my Artfight attacks this year, so stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.